In 1776, all 13 colonies permitted slavery, but as the American Revolution began, the northern states began to abolish slavery.
The Declaration of Independence states, "All men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain rights, and among those rights is liberty."
To have all men created equally, they would have to treat the blacks the same as whites.
The way Thomas Jefferson interpreted his Declaration of Independence was that it should have been, "All white men are created equal."
Immigrants could not compete with the labor force of slaves, so they stayed in the northern states. Therefore, the only reason they would come south was to become landowners and slaveholders.
Therefore, no southern states would abolish slavery.
In 1787, when the Founding Fathers met to write the new Constitution, the Northerners and Southerners disagreed on how to count slaves in the overall population.
The solution was the Three-Fifths Compromise, where every slave would count as 3/5 of a free person. They also decided that as of the end of the year 1807, the slave trade would end.
At that point, only slaves in America could be bought and sold, so the slave owners had to find a new way to get more slaves.
Slave owners began to breed their slaves as if they were livestock.
Then in 1792, Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin and changed the way of the Southern agriculture forever.
The cotton gin made cotton to be an everyday fabric instead of one only the rich could afford. It turned cotton into the South's new staple crop.
Then in 1817, a group rose up to help free the slaves. They were known as the American Colonization Society.
The ACS bought a portion of land in Africa and called it Liberia. They were asking slave owners to release their slaves back into Africa where they could be free.
Most slave owners found this to be ridiculous, and only a few thousand slaves were released, whereas thousands more are being abused and bred for profit.
Congress began to put some limitations on slavery, but did not put any limits on their location. They are until 1820, most people followed the imaginary line called the Mason-Dixon line.
The Mason-Dixon line was what separated the slave and free states. It was nothing more than the border between Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware.
Missouri wanted to be a slave state, but the North opposed it, causing a big issue. Henry Clay came up with a solution to this problem. He proposed a three-step compromise.
1. Allow Missouri to become a slave state.
Step 2. Allow the northern half of Missouri to break off and become a separate free state.
And step 3. Do not allow any new slave states to be created in the Louisiana Territory north of the 36th degree. This compromise kept the North and South from splitting and gave it a balance of power.